The question is, have we gone too far in the direction of saying that everything goes? So most people associate the name of Chicago School to Milton Friedman, Joel Stigler, and at the law school, Judge Posner, and even before, Aaron Director. And these names tend to all be associated, at least in the image today, to very critical position to antitrust enforcement. However, the position of Milton Friedman and Joe Stigler in the 50s were quite different. They were very much more aggressive pro-antitrust. And if you go even earlier, the Chicago School, associated to the name of Harry Simon, was a big proponent of antitrust enforcement. So I think that there was one fact that came across very clearly, is that concentration in the United States over the last 20 years has increased. Now, what does that mean? People are divided, and some of my colleagues, like Kevin Murphy, thinks that this is not a problem because you shouldn't look at concentration, you should look at competition. And others, like myself, are worried because even if competition is okay from a product market point of view, even if prices are low, concentration can lead to distortion, for example, in regulation and entry. So the best example is Google. Google has an enormous amount of concentration, sells its services at zero price to most of us, but has an enormous power on regulating privacy, data, and stuff like that. So is that a problem or not? And I think an increasing number of people in academia start to say, yes, it is a problem. Antitrust was born in 1890 when economists really did not understand well the damage of monopoly. And so it was born more as a political movement of West farmers that felt oppressed by the Eastern railways and wanted to have a more balanced power vis-à-vis them. And I think that there is something intrinsically libertarian in the tradition of the American antitrust, that sort of bigness is bad and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And that libertarian tradition has been completely ignored by the Chicago economic approach to antitrust. And when we come to companies like Google as Facebook, whose power is not just the power to increase prices, but the power over our life, I think some of that old tradition needs to be brought back. So we are all familiar with number portability of your phone number, but what about your bank account? Today is a pain to change which bank you deal with, because you have to reroute your check account, your mortgage, lots of things. If you own that number and you can switch from one bank to the other, we will see a lot of more bank competition. So do you call that regulation? Do you call that definition of property rights that enhances competition? And so I think that technology has created a lot more of intangible assets that need to be properly defined. And the property over those assets need to be properly defined. And I think that that's something that has emerged from the conference as an important task for future research.